Tatyana Navka announced that Kamila Valieva will likely compete in the Russian jumping championships. Most likely, yes. Navka replied when asked about Valieva's participation in the tournament. Tatyana Tarasova. I'll be very happy if Kamila competes. We haven't seen her in competition yet, so I can't assess her form. I really hope Kamila will perform well. The Russian jumping championships will be held from January 31 to February 1 at Navka Arena in Moscow. Ivan Kuznetsov. When I think about what figure skating was like about a quarter of a century ago, two programs haunt me. Philip Candelora's Tartagnan from the 1997 M98 season. Alexei Yagudin's Winter from the 2001-2002 season, with which he won the Salt Lake City Olympics. These are very different programs from very different skaters. But they have one thing in common, viewed from 2026. These programs are impossible in figure skating today. If they were forced into conformity with modern rules, they would literally be erased. Neither Candelora's step sequence, so admired by Vasily Otkin, nor Yagudin's step sequence, which he still sells at ice shows, would fit within the framework of modern requirements for step sequences, their specific shape and ripping, or the logic of levels. Such programs are effectively marginalized, relegated to the fringes of competition, labeled as tricks, elements for a gala number. For some reason, it seems as if the fate of these legendary programs is a microcosm of the fate of all figure skating over the past 25 years. It's not just Tartagnan or Winter that are impossible today. Stylistic tropes from programs by skaters who skated under the old judging system or developed during its demise are no longer possible. We no longer see anything resembling Yagudin's Gladiator, Lambiel's The Four Seasons, Joubert's The Matrix, or Takahashi's Swan Lake. The endlessly beautiful, ethereal women's programs, Michelle Kwan's Romanza, Sasha Cohen's Dark Eyes, Carolina Kostler's Memoirs of a Geisha, and many programs from the Plashenko and Slizkaya eras, to whom we dedicated an episode of the Clean Tail podcast this summer, are now unlikely to be a guarantee of success. I don't understand what's happening in figure skating, Brian Joubert said after the 2014 Olympics. Hanyu is a good skater, Chan is too, but they made so many mistakes. And despite this, they received very high scores. I truly don't understand what's going on, like many other people, especially in France. It makes me look to the future of our sport with great sadness. This quote from one of the leading skaters of the 2000s after Yuzuru and Patrick competed for gold and silver in Sochi, having fallen 4 times between them in their free skate, feels like a death knell for an era. 3 years later, another legend of European figure skating, Javier Fernandez, would express a similar opinion. For so many years, I focused on my skating, not on my jumps. I spend all my time on skating, and when someone who does a lot of quads but has no skating skills also gets high components, I think, why did I waste my time? Should I have focused on jumping, not skating? The Spaniard asked before the start of the 2017-18 Olympic season. Traveling further from the past to the future, 7-8 years later, we find ourselves in a world where a group of top figure skaters don't understand what's going on in ice dance. Of course, I'm angry. I see strange games being played that are ruining ice dance. Many people are giving up. As if the goal is to stop the creative process. We're forced to waste time on stupid rules. Did we hold hands for 5 or 6 seconds? And that could cost us a lot of points. Of course, rules are necessary and important. But balance is also important. I don't think it's normal that you can lose 8-10 points because you touched your partner's shoulder. It's not even a mistake, exclaimed Guillaume Cizerin after one of the stages of the 2025-26 Grand Prix. Piper Gills echoed this. It's sad that the strongest athletes are being relegated to the first levels en masse. It makes us look like juniors. We love this sport. But I think our system is at a crossroads right now, and viewers feel like we're in the same boat. They also don't understand why there's an exclamation point in the score sheet. What does it mean? There are certain moments in our sport when we've lost touch with both the spectators and those who shape our destiny. And this, in my opinion, needs to change. This collage of quotes from top figure skaters across various disciplines, spoken in different circumstances over the past quarter century, shares one common thread. A lack of understanding of where figure skating is headed. The move away from the 6-0 system, which didn't have a base value for elements, levels, or bonuses, and didn't nitpick about snow and other dirty tricks in programs, on the one hand, gave singles an opportunity to take a step forward. Igor Poroshin, arguably the leading Russian figure skating journalist of the 2000s and 2010s, once admired the embodiment of the new course, and its chief ambassador, Patrick Chan. Chan became the emblem of figure skating's new course toward total renewal, embodied in the new judging system. Everything is number, as Pythagoras said. Everything in figure skating, every stroke, every new turn of the skate, can be evaluated by a number. From now on, everything about a skater must be beautiful: their quadruples, their entry into that quadruple, their spins, their footwork in the step sequence, their costume, and, of course, the music. And the greatest skater is the one who never freezes in their perfection. It's both easy and difficult to argue with Igor. After all, the new system has allowed not only Chen to be evaluated, but also Fernandez, Hanyu, and others whose skating is so detailed and rich that the old scoring system is a sledgehammer to them. For some reason, we think that the power of numbers, and, more broadly, the dominant rational view of the world, will serve human genius, becoming merely a tool for capturing it. And yet, somehow, we're missing one unfortunate fact. Let's say we're talking about the fact that, for some time now, every element of figure skating has been measured in a way never before possible. Once again, we fail to notice how, not geniuses have changed the numbers, but rather how numbers have begun to change geniuses. The formula "everything is number" has no exceptions. At some point, the individual breaks under the power of numbers. Numbers become the sole goal, a means of identification. Where there is power in numbers, there is no freedom. I don't know if this is what Pythagoras intended. The old scoring system had a clear ceiling, beyond which it was impossible to jump. No matter how many multi-rotational jumps you included in your program, you couldn't get more than a 6.0, and since 6.0 was almost never awarded, you couldn't get more than a 5.9. Today, the predetermined value of elements allows skaters to optimize figure skating, to make it as mathematically advantageous as possible. When Porsche admired Chan, he admired art and saw the new scoring system as the best tool capable of capturing the greatness of this art. Paradoxically, it was precisely this new system, where everything is a number, that made art the most disadvantageous thing imaginable. Performance became a mere exercise, choreography a decoration, composition a dessert. Being more than just an athlete in figure skating became the preserve of fanatics and the bored. It's not the new scoring system that allows Adam Xiao Hemfa to do somersaults or Ilya Malinin to do the raspberry twist. It wasn't she who gave us Yulia Lipnitskaya's spins or Carolina Kostler's skating prowess. All of this existed in spite of it, as a backdrop, a style, not at all a necessary means of standing out. The brightest talents of these 25 years emerged less because they were products of the system than because, for whatever reason, they took different paths from it. It wasn't the system that gave birth to Eliona Castorna's skating skills. It was the system that taught us that this brilliant skating skill is worthless without two triple axels. Years later, it's easy to understand what was wrong with Javier Fernandez's question. In 2017, he hadn't yet realized that figure skating had become something like a mathematical exercise, balancing debits and credits. Javier was simply wasting his time on something that didn't generate revenue. It's amazing how ice dance fell into the same numerical trap. Although it would seem they were insured due to the absence of multi-rotational jumps, throws, twists, and other elements whose mathematical weight allows for high stakes. It seemed that dance would be the last island where truly challenging figure skating would not be replaced by technically demanding ones. And there, too, they seemed to be doing the right thing. They abolished the compulsory dance and allowed recognizable melodies into the speakers. Along with them, new costumes arrived on the ice, and a new culture for figure skating arrived. The sexual revolution at the end of the 20th century probably didn't completely bypass them. We did see Katerina Witt on the cover of Playboy, after all, but it elegantly waved, winked, and ran far away from the prudishness and languid faces. But all this was shattered by that very power of numbers. While numbers can sometimes distinguish good from bad, they are quite indiscriminate in their search for the difference between good and beautiful. Therefore, the music of the 90s became not a free choice for those tired of the classics, but an imposed norm. And so it lost its symbolism of protest, hope, and a new era, and God forbid you take music from 1989, as happened with Depeche Mode's Personal Jesus, to which Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Guillaume Cizerin were forced to cancel their already prepared program. The energy itself became not an organic result of the composition's spirit, but another norm. During the Olympic season, judges search every pair in the rhythm dance for high energy. All this has created an opportunity for figure skating to be hacked by those who lack great talent, but meet the formal requirements, and aspire to elements whose value is fixed. Not to mention the scope for manipulation given to the judges. The number of evaluation criteria is directly proportional to the number of chances to tweak the scores in any direction. I'm not entirely sure that in today's reality, Tessa Virtue and Scott Moir would have beaten Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson, even though they're from different planets. 25 years ago, figure skating ended a decade in which it had beaten top American sports and television ratings a couple of times. The Tonya Harding-Nancy Kerrigan showdown launched figure skating into a cosmos it would never reach again. 25 years ago, figure skating was a sport filled with charismatic guys and girls who could shock, both structurally and substantively. Just look at Surya Bonli with her legendary program in Nagano, featuring a band somersault landing on one foot. 25 years ago, figure skating was heading into a future that promised to be much brighter than the past. And we've seen Jaubert and Lambiel, Hanyu and Fernandez, Yagudin and Plashenko, Zagitova and Medvedeva. Figure skating continues to change its rules every year. It moves the number of parameters for evaluating components, changes the Go scale, and changes the base values of elements. Figure skating has many reasons to boast about its progress. Over this quarter century, women have begun jumping quads. Women's programs with 2 triple axels are no shock. Tusova alone set several Guinness World Records. And if Chen and Malinin had skated in the same years, we could have seen 13 quads in their 2 free skates. A lot has become possible in 25 years. But 25 years later, neither Candeloro nor Yagudin are possible in figure skating. And for me, this result is no less striking than Malinin's program with 7 quads.